Mornings with Jaresha is a radio show and podcast here to equip, empower, and elevate you to the next level by helping you win your mornings and win your day with inspiration and motivation so you can wake, slay, pray, and take action. Today is a fabulous day to be great, have great, and do great. You just have to be willing to unleash your greatness and take action. This show is for everyone from all walks of life who just simply want to feel empowered and motivated to take the next step. Now, let's get it. Let's go. Mornings with Jaresha begins now. Welcome back to Mornings with Jaresha. So, have you ever just had one of those mornings when it just seems like everything that can go wrong will, um, as far as like sitting in traffic, like you didn't anticipate or expect a lot of traffic, and it was just crazy traffic. Um, I get here to my office this morning, and my battery in my mouse is just decided that it's just gonna die. And so I literally don't have a mouse for my laptop. And so have you had one of those mornings where it's just like, you know what? It's gonna be one of those days. And how do you respond to those things? How do you respond? Because for many of us, when we have, just moments or situations that just keep just seeming like, okay, what else can happen? If it's not one thing, it's another. You know, there's so many different things that we go through from a day to day. And if we're completely honest with ourselves, especially in the morning, and it can truly like make and break the rest of your day, right? It can make and break. How many times have you just had the worst morning and then it just seems like it just keeps getting worse throughout the day? Well, I was thinking about that when I got here to the office, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, so the battery in my mouse decided that it's just done. And that's fine, but I really need I really need my mouse today. And for those of you that use your laptop without a mouse, more power to you, but I'm not that girl. I have to have a mouse. I don't know if it could just been like a mental thing. I don't know. I don't like to put I don't like to maneuver with the little trackpad. I don't like that. I have to have a mouse that I can move around. And so this morning I get here and I'm like, okay, what is really going on? What's going on? The traffic was really just yeah, it does not take me about it only takes about 15 minutes and not even 15 minutes for me to get to my office. And when I tell you it took every bit about more, I mean, it was like 25, 30 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing this morning to try to get across the Cincinnati Bridge. And for those of you that go across that bridge, again, more power to you because depending on what time you leave, whether you're going across the bridge to Kentucky or coming back from Kentucky, more power to you. And more power to me because I do this almost every single day. But anywho, so I get here and I'm like, okay, so I made my coffee this morning, and I made it before I left, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. I got my coffee in hand because most of the time I will make it when I get to my office, and so I got my coffee in hand, and so I'm like, okay, this just gives me some time to just sit and wait and think. And when we're in traffic, we might hop on the phone, we might just think about some things, and so it's we use it as an opportunity to be anywho. So I get here and trying to use my mouse, and then it's like, okay, it's not working. And it made me think about this because I was like, okay, what else? What else is there? Like, what else is going to take place today? And it made me really think about it. And I wanted to share it on here because I feel like these are the moments that happen to us so frequently, so often. And it's all in how we respond, how we react to it. How are you reacting to those moments? So, yes, I need a mouse.
But guess what? I'm going to make the best of this trackpad. I'm going to make the best of utilizing another mouse that I feel like could potentially work with my Mac, that I can, I can use it on both. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm not going to let it, mess up my whole entire day. And so I said all of that. I said all of that because I want you to think about that today. So as you just go throughout the day, whether you are sitting in traffic, whether you're at work listening, whatever happens, think about how you're going to respond and react to that thing. And I think that it's all about that, right? Because things are always going to happen, but our reaction to it is truly just really dictates and determines the rest of our day, and how we as a person is going to continue to move. And so I'm not going to let the fact that I do not have another battery for my mouse mess up my day. Life goes on. I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And if there is anything else that should happen, because as we talked about yesterday, life just be out here lifing. And so if anything should happen, I'm going to choose how I'm going to respond to it. I'm not going to let it just take my joy, mess up my whole entire day. With that being said, I want to jump into the breakfast breakdown. Now, I'm still working on the jingle for this, so that's coming soon. But the breakfast breakdown, it is time for the breakfast breakdown. And so for today, what I am learning, and this is something that I'm going to talk about more in detail, but what I am learning is I'm really, really learning about this consistency thing. Now, I feel like we know it's one of those things like we know we need to be consistent. If you're going to be consistent, or how are you going to be consistent? Making sure we're showing up, whatever we're doing, consistency with our goals, consistency with, our health and wellness. We need to make sure we're being consistent. But I really feel like I am learning more about myself as it relates to this consistency thing. And if I can be honest, and I think if we all just look at our lives, I feel like we don't necessarily have this issue with being consistent. But because I mean, like, look at the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You're showing up. If you're working a 9 to 5, guess what? You're gonna be consistent. And why is that? Because you're getting a paycheck. So if you have a business, you're going to show up for your clients because you're getting paid. So there is that consistency piece. We are consistent in, different areas of our life. We are consistent with, our finances. So, some of us are consistent with creating debt for ourselves. And I hate to put that out there, but that's the truth. Some of us are, we're consistent with paying our bills, because if we don't pay our bills, guess what? We know what happens. The lights are going to get cut off. Our phones is going to get cut off. So we do have a level of consistency in our lives. It's just a matter of the things that we're not being consistent on. And so I know for me, I am really learning more about myself in those areas that I really lack consistency, such as health and wellness. Yeah, that is my struggle. That has been my struggle, and not necessarily the wellness part of it, but well, I guess it's all apart. It all goes hand in hand. But it's the exercising. So it is the physical part of the health and wellness, and getting up, exercising, and being consistent with my plan and sticking to it. And so I'm learning not just about the consistency part, but the discomfort part of it, because it's that discomfort. It is being consistent with knowing that I'm going to be discomfort. I'm going to be, it's not going to be comfortable for me to get up, or get up and exercise in the morning, or if I exercise in the evening. It's not going to be something that I'm not, I'm going to have pain. So I'm not saying that if you enjoy working out, then again, high five and more power to you. I think I do enjoy working out. However, it's the pain that I feel afterward. Like, it's the pain, like when I get up in the morning and I'm like, oh, it's the aches and the pains that I feel. It's pushing through that discomfort. So I am learning how to push through the discomfort, and knowing that I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Ooh, and when I tell you this is, y'all, this is a struggle. It is a true struggle for me because when it comes down to like eating healthy and drinking water, I feel like I have that down. Like I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm consistent with it. I have a whole habit tracker that I use to keep track of those habits and those good habits, even for my exercising. But when I tell you, it don't matter if I have a habit tracker, if I have a to-do list, it doesn't matter what I have. It's a matter of me really shifting my perspective and changing my mindset when it comes down to that discomfort, because it is something that I feel physically and I'm like, okay, this is pain. And it's always after, it's like way after for me. So generally when I work out and when I was, when I had a trainer and I was working out, it was good. Like I was excited to go see the trainer. And then it was the after effect. It was the after effect that really got to me. So I'm really learning how to push through the discomfort and really learning more about myself when it comes down to consistency. And what I'm loving today is I'm loving so I have a whiteboard in my office and I've turned it into like a project whiteboard. And it's so easy. I mean, like when I tell you it's so easy and simple, I took a regular whiteboard that I got like at Walmart or I think I may have gotten it at Target. And so I took it, put washi tape, put lines, which is the washi tape, and I literally just, made it into 7 sections of projects that I'm working on. And I have post-its that I put on there. And when I tell you I'm loving it because it's something about having that visual for me. And maybe it's the same for you. So maybe, being able to visualize and see the projects that you're working on and see how, you're able to pull off those post-its and work on things and everything else. Like it's just really just getting me together. And I'm really, really loving it because, I can see the projects. I can see, the things that I'm working on, the things that, I've already kind of completed. And it's just so helpful to be able to see it. I feel like when it comes down to things, if we're not writing stuff down, if we are not documenting it somewhere, whether you're writing it down using some kind of project board or project management tool, then it's like out of sight, out of mind. And so I'm loving this project whiteboard that I have in my office. And what's empowering me today, and I'm really excited to mention this because I feel like as someone who loves empowering other people, I feel like it's so easy for me, to really get empowered by other things. And so I am really, really feeling empowered by this book that I am reading. And so I mentioned a couple of other books before that I since then have finished. But there is a book that I read years ago, I think when it first came out, and I just so happened to be at Target. And when I tell y'all, I went to Target actually because I wanted to pick up a different book. And I happened to see this and I was like, yay, this is so exciting. I'm super excited about this because I can remember when this book, when I learned about this book and I got the book and I was like, oh, this book is the book. Like it is the book that I felt like was a game changer. It is what I needed. Then I listened to it on Audible and I literally like didn't want to stop listening. And so this book is called You Are a Bad ASS. You Are a Bad A. And with this book, let me tell you who wrote it. It's by Jen Sincero. And when I tell y'all, this was the book for me. This was the book. If you ever picked up a book and you're like, you know what? I really needed this book. Like I needed this. And this was at a time when I was, still working in the 9 to 5 world. And I had, was in the process of really trying to launch my business. And I just needed to have that encouragement. I needed to feel empowered. And so I came across this book and I started listening to it. And this was, I mean, like within my job, I actually was traveling. And so I was able to really listen to this book, more. I was able to like travel and listen to this book every single day and not just like a few minutes at a time. I was literally able to listen to like the book in a very short time. And so this book really just It was like what I definitely needed. And so Jen Sincero has released an Ultimate Collector's Edition, and then she has an exclusive new chapter in it, and it's really, really good. So if you have not, if you are, and nothing against the men, but if you are a woman, you need to read this. If you have not read this book, please pick it up and read it because it will definitely change your life. It will change your life. It just really just felt, I mean, it empowered me. It really truly empowered me. And I was super excited to see it. I've loved the book. It's been years since I've actually, reread it. I think then I read it several times. And so this was just a reminder that one, yes, you are amazing. And it was just a reminder to me to really pick up the book. And so I am reading this book now, and I'm loving it. And it's really empowering me. So You Are a Bad A, and it's by Jen Sincero. Check it out, check it out, check it out. And so that is the breakfast breakdown. And so I hope that as you continue to hear my breakfast breakdowns, that you actually look at your own life on things that you are learning, loving, and what's really feeling you empowered. And so just sticking to what I had already mentioned, which was this whole consistency and discomfort thing. I really felt like this was something that I really wanted to go into a little bit, deeper. I wanted to share a little bit more because I think it's something that we all struggle with, right? We struggle with this consistency journey. And it is something that we all can relate to. We know how important it is to be consistent with all of the things, how important it is to be consistent with your goals. So, if you're working on your goals, guess what? You have to be consistent. If you are if you have a business, I mean, everyone tells you how important consistency is. And I feel like they're not just saying that for, just for no reason. There is so much truth and so many facts in being consistent and continuing to show up for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So, maybe you are writing a book, and that means being consistent in writing, being consistent in making sure you have dedicated space, dedicated time to write your book. And you're not just, writing, I'm going to write on Monday, and then the next following week it's going to be, whenever. You actually have that dedicated time, that dedicated space to work on those things. And I feel like it's the same way with our goals. It's the same way with everything. So when we're looking at the areas of our life, we're looking at our finances, we're looking at our relationships, our health and wellness, we're looking at our faith, we're looking at our personal professional development. Are you consistent? How have you been consistent in your life? How have you been consistent in each one of those areas? Are you continuing to show up for yourself in those areas? And if not, is it because of the discomfort? Is it because of, there you feel uncomfortable with your relationship? So you're not, consistent in making sure, you're building your relationships, or you're building your relationship with your spouse. You're growing with your relationship with your spouse. You're growing in your relationship with your children. You're growing in your, relationships as far as, your business and everything else. Are you showing up for yourself? Or are you, looking at that thing and saying, ooh, like I feel discomfort, so I'm not going to be consistent. I'm not going to continue showing up. And I feel like when we look at it in a different perspective, it just makes sense. I think it makes so much sense. At least in my mind, in my mind, it makes sense. Because when we think about, consistency and discomfort, we have to really embrace the consistency. So we have to stop saying to ourselves, you know what, I have an issue with being consistent. Because, maybe you don't. Maybe no, you don't. It's not, you don't have a consistency, problem. You don't have a consistency issue. The issue that you have is you don't like to be, you don't like to have, you don't like to go through the discomfort. You have a discomfort problem. And that was like my realization. I had to check myself. I had to check myself. And I'll tell you when I check myself because I happened to be scrolling through TikTok and I can't even think of the gentleman's name right now, but he was talking about something similar to what I just mentioned, the consistency and the discomfort. And I was like, ooh, like this was a gut punch, like to me. Because I was like, oh, you know what? You are definitely on to something when we think about this consistency thing. And again, everything is about changing your perspective and looking at it, from a different side. And so when I began to look at that thing and say, stop, we are so quick to talk about how, oh, I'm a procrastinator. I am, I'm not consistent. We're so quick to attach all these negative names to ourselves. Stop attaching all these negative names to yourself. Start speaking positivity into yourself. So, yeah, we all have those struggles. But guess what? I'm not going to attach I am to any of those struggles. I'm not going to attach I am to any of the struggles. So we have to be willing to change that, change our mindset, change the narrative that we are speaking over our life, over our greatness, over our success. How are you speaking over your issues? How are you speaking over your problems? How are you speaking over that thing? So we have to one embrace consistency. Embrace it. I am consistent. Guess what? I have been consistent in all of these areas. What areas can you actually show that you have been consistent in? Because I know you have some areas. Like you're consistently waking up, and many of us are waking up, we're doing our devotion, we're doing our prayer. Boom. Guess what? You're consistent with doing your devotion, doing your prayer. And guess what? That has become habit to you so that you're consistent. However, when it comes down to some of those things in our lives, we do have to, we're going to encounter the discomfort and we have to embrace the discomfort, right? We have to embrace it instead of, avoiding it. And when I tell you, you've heard me talk about my wellness and my health journey and how I will avoid it if I can. But when I think about how it's like, you know what? I need to shift my perspective. I need to think about this in a different way. And so when we begin to do that, things happen, things change. And when we recognize that thing for what it is, we can begin to, really transform. So embrace consistency. The secret of success is consistency of purpose. Consistency is so very important. It's so very important. And then we know we're going to encounter discomfort. Like that's just something that's going to happen. But how are we dealing with that discomfort? How can we look at discomfort and not really see it as something negative and something that we need to avoid? How can we, really um, seek out those things and yes, understand that, well, it's going to be some discomfort, but it's going to help us grow. See, there is growth in your discomfort. There is growth in your discomfort, and you have to be willing to recognize that thing, call it for what it is, and understand that we need to run towards that discomfort and not try to avoid it, not try to run away from it. We need to push ourselves. Push ourselves. We need to push ourselves out of that comfort zone so that we can grow, so we can transform, and so that we can truly, unleash that greatness that is within us. See, I look at this whole consistency and discomfort as they're stepping stones. They are stepping stones. So consistency is led by discomfort, um, And when we look at it, look at the thing. So think about like one area of your life that that yes, you've been consistent, but the area of your life where you really need to show up more for yourself, so you need to be more consistent. And the reason why you haven't been has been maybe because of the discomfort. Like you're just, it could be whatever things make you feel uncomfortable, but that you've been avoiding that thing because of the fact of you it just it doesn't it feels you don't feel comfortable. You know that it's pushing you. It's going to push you, meaning it's going to push you out of that comfort zone. Think about that thing. Think about that thing. Because if we learn to really embrace that consistency and push through the discomfort, it's going to lead to the success that we want. So we have to recognize consistency and discomfort, not just as those obstacles to overcome, but as stepping stones that's going to lead you to that goal, that's going to lead you to that dream, that's going to lead you to walking in your purpose. It's going to lead you where you need to be, where you desire, where you deserve. We know that this path is not an easy one, right? It is not an easy one. There's going to be discomforts, there's going to be challenges. And if we are going to be stubborn about it, we're going to we have to know that we have to push through, right? We have to push through. We have to push through despite the odds. We have to push through despite the challenges. We have to push through despite the discomfort and not be stubborn. Like we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do. And I think the beauty of this journey is that every single step, like so every small step that we take, every discomfort that we embrace, it develops you as a person and brings you one step closer to your goal. So knowing that, maybe that will help you shift your perspective, right? Maybe that will help you shift your perspective. One thing I want you to think about um, is that on this journey, this journey. How do I want to say this? On this journey, so let me put it this way. So if we remember that diamonds are made under pressure, so when life pushes us, under and pushes you under, it's making a diamond out of you. It is making a diamond out of you, which to me, it gets me excited because we have to conquer the fear, we have to conquer the discomfort, and we have to remain consistent on this journey. We have to remain consistent. We know that success isn't accidental. It is all about continuous effort and our willingness to accept discomfort. And so when I look at my life and I'm thinking about the key areas of my life, I am going back to having this conversation with myself and saying, you know what? There is some discomfort in my relationships. There is some discomfort in my finances. But guess what? What do I need to do to push through? How can I continue to push through? What can I be doing in my business to push through? How can I embrace consistency, especially when it comes down to our goals? Like we are literally at the end of the year, and many of us we have some really big goals. And I believe that the goals that you have, there is no doubt in my mind that you can accomplish those goals. But you have to be willing to push through the discomfort. Push through the discomfort. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. Listen, I am definitely ready. This excites me. I really hope that it excites you as well. I hope you're ready to navigate through the consistency and the discomfort, so that you can, step towards, use those stepping stones, that is, to success. I hope you're ready to execute on your goals, your dreams, and walking into your purpose.
Let's get it. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Mornings with Jaresha show. Follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube at Jaresha Moore. Email Jaresha at empoweronpurpose.com and text 937-938-6373. And have a great day on purpose.